Spell Paving Services provides professional customer service and performance for your next industrial or large-scale private paving project. From parking lots, roads, and driveways to seal coat, chip seal, concrete, and asphalt, there's no job too big for the team at Spell Paving Services. Serving a 500-mile radius from Dallas-Fort Worth, Spell Paving Services has you covered. Call 214-384-3056 to get a competitive quote today and tell them the Chaos sent you.
All right, and welcome, Funny Car Chaos fans. Myself, Lee Kraft, and the voice of Chaos, David Ratton. Here it is, Chaos Live. David, man, Pine Valley, what a exceptional, great third round of competition it was for Funny Car Chaos.
Yeah, it really was. We rolled in there after our event down at Baton Rouge, and just a great number of cars and rolling into that gate. We've been there before and took a pause in 2021, but to see the work that has been done down there at that racetrack with the new group that's got it, and the way they have brought in sponsors and brought in supporters, and the way they are bringing things to life down there. And it was just a great way to kick off the most recent chapter, the newest chapter in the history of Pine Valley Raceway. Man, they rolled out the red carpet for everybody, and what a time we had.
It certainly was a great time, and I really knew and I felt that the event was going to be a good one, because there was a buzz around Funny Car Chaos that I was not expecting. And I saw it on display at the Houston NHRA National event. So I'm there. I'm working for the teams that I work for. And I saw Chaos Cajun National event tees. And I saw Funny Car Classic event tees. And I'm wearing my Funny Car Chaos team jersey. And people are stopping me regularly. I love the Chaos, man. Yeah. And, man, what a buzz that Funny Car Chaos has in 2022, and people see it, recognize it, and they want it badly. And I think that was on display at Pine Valley for everything that could have been against it and was, whether it's a bridge that is out and the rain and weather coming in and potential forecasts. I really feel like Redneck Road was full. There was a decent crowd, and people had a good time around funny cars.
Yeah, we weren't sure exactly what to expect with that bridge being out, and of course it's right at the track, and it was interesting weather. I mean, it was really, really nice, but you look up at those clouds, and it was kind of like at any time they could have gotten together and simply washed out the weekend. And of course, we always say the good Lord must love some funny car racing, because we are extremely blessed with good weather. And as the day went on there on Saturday, particularly, I was looking out there, and the stands got got fuller and fuller, and
yeah.
We wound up having a good crowd, and people taking advantage of the chance to get those event shirts and those prints and all the things that we had there. The concession stands, one of them ran out of food, and the other one was just very, very busy. So there were lots of people there having a really good time, and they were treated to some of that Funny Car Chaos magic, part of which we'll talk about when we interview one of our guests here tonight. But the underdog story, the stories of the underdogs, people that have dreamed about racing funny cars for a long, long time, and they get the opportunity to do so with Chaos. And, Mike, you interviewed him, and you did a great interview with him right there at the end. And I chatted with him a little bit later, and he was didn't think he'd ever win a Funny Car Chaos event, but perseverance, man, and just continuing to show up and to bring the best you got, learn from whatever happens, and show up at another one. Man, that's the great lessons that we will get from a real competitor like Mike Buchanan coming up tonight. It's just part of the story, and it's a very compelling story that brings the fans out, because these racers, it's not just drudgery or work, it's a lot of work, but man, it's the pursuit of a worthy dream. And these folks are having a great time, and our fans are picking up on it. So that enthusiasm that you picked up on, and that you see all across, no matter where you go at a motorsports event, you're probably going to see some chaos gear showing up, and we're thankful for that. We appreciate the fact that people recognize the authenticity that exists at our events. Man, it's just it's so much fun to meet new fans, which I did. Kind of made a few shout outs there on Saturday with some folks that have been following and driving miles to come to the races just to experience this little special brand of magic that Chris and Tara created several years ago, and that continues to have a good bit of boost behind it, and is moving right on.
That it is. Pat Lord, he comments on many shows that I'm on. He watches the Chaos brand as well. He was there at the Chaos Cajun Nationals. He's also at Pine Valley, not too far from his home in Texas, and sings the praise of Funny Car Chaos. And so many people that I encounter, they love what is happening because it is about the racer. It's about the racing. It's about the experience. And, I think some moves were made even before going into eliminations on Saturday that behooved and were beneficial to the racer and even to sponsors to make it that much more of a show. Because kind of continuing a narrative so far this year, it has been rough on some of the teams, and that we saw more cars experience breakage that we just got back after Ennis. So though that did occur, it was worked out and had a great show into the night there at Pine Valley with the cars that we did have. And I think the number was, 19 or 20 in competition, right, David?
Yeah, there were 22 actually on the property, and we wound up running. Actually, it was a very interesting format that Chris came up with right there, kind of right before we went in. We had 7 cars in each of the 3 classes, so that we got the full treatment. You saw the buy runs there in the first round, and hey, Morgan, glad to see you tuning in there. And but we had the first number 1 qualifiers got a buy run in each of the 3 categories, but everything else was pairs. And so our fans got a great show, the full show that they came to see. And Gary Wheeler chiming in there that he's going to be back out. We've been looking for you, Gary, and so come on back out. We're ready to see that 55 get it on. So anyway, so that format with, and we did have a few cars that were unable to fire or had to withdraw because of breakage. But everybody got the chance to bring it and to show out a little bit, and it was the fans certainly got a great show. When we go down to Pine Valley, there's an old time funny car racer that lives in the area. He's actually somewhat in the area in Killeen, and those of you that go way back, you'll remember a Texas funny car racer, James Eads. He went by Kogo Eads. And James lives in Killeen down there, and we always invite James to come because I really would love to get an interview with him from those days of the Texas, outlaw funny cars racing all the small tracks around the state, and of course, Kogo and them they ran all across the country. They were pretty powerful team there, and so one of these days we're going to get a chance to see him. He's experienced. He's had some tests run and for his health, and so we're thinking about him and sending out thoughts and prayers to him. So one of these days we're going to get a chance to interview him, and that's going to be a really great time. So
I'm sure it will be. And David, that the old time funny car guys have got to love what they're seeing with Funny Car Chaos. Regularly, you go anywhere, people are like, "Oh, this is what it was like back in whatever day you want to throw in," and it's happening again with this series. So You know they got to be chomping at the bit. Honestly, get another funny car together and get back out there. Some of them, and mix it up with the Funny Car Chaos brand that is now in the competitors that are out there. Speaking of those competitors, we do have one of those competitors, the winner of the Seafield, Mike Buchanan. He is one of our guests tonight, and then we will have Ed Wolfe also on later on tonight, a longtime fixture around funny cars and drag racing in general from the NHRA and beyond. So Ed's a character. Looking forward to having him on and chatting with him. And David, how about we get that first guest on and talk to Mike about his beautiful funny car, the Hombre, and that win in Pine Valley.
Looking forward to it.
Larice Motorsports Insurance offers drag racers the broadest insurance policies in the industry. Larice Motorsports Insurance was created by racers for racers. Larice insures race cars on and off the track, trailers and equipment. Larice even pays racers contingencies at the fling bracket races. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Larice Motorsports Insurance today.
All right, Mike, welcome to Chaos Live.
Hey, guys, it's good to be here.
Man, we are tickled to have you on, and this is an interview that we have been looking forward to get a chance to bring to the fans. You know, Mike, you've got a growing fan club out there. I tell you what, I think your number one cheerleaders are over in Walls, Mississippi, the Neal boys, but I think you have got fans far and wide who like seeing that car and like seeing you do well. And man, did they get a treat from the race at Pine Valley?
Well, I got a pretty good treat too. We had no expectation of doing very well there. We had hurt the engine in Ennis, and luckily we did have a spare engine, so we got it put in, and the Q1 was really the first pass we ever had put on the engine, and so needless to say, very thrilled with that, and really humbled by the fans' output. I've got congratulations from so many people. It's just really humbling. It's one of the great things about this sport is the people that are involved in it.
Absolutely. So you have, obviously when I look at your car and I see that there's a tribute to Charlie Thurwinger's car back in 1972, you've obviously followed funny cars for a long, long time. Yeah, like that one right there. And you've done a perfect recreation of it. But so take us back for your earliest memories of funny cars and what you saw and what you read and how all that led us to 2022 when you're being interviewed on a show that talks about your funny car success.
Well, I'm like a lot of people. I got the bug from my dad, and my dad worked on cars, and I was right there leaning on the fender watching him work. He did a little bit of dirt track racing when I was in grade school, and when we moved to Ark City, Kansas, there was a small drag strip outside of town. It's still in operation. It's called Mid-America Dragway now. And I guess when I was 13 or 14, I started working out there. My dad would drive me to the track, drop me off, and I'd work all day there, and then he'd come out and pick me up. The gentleman at the time that was running the track had an old front engine dragster up in the attic of his garage, and he let several of us young men that were working out at the track put it together and let us drive it. So the very first pass I ever made down a drag strip was in a front engine dragster, and I was 14 years old. So the hook's been set deep for a long time. After I turned 16, I had street cars that I raced out there at the drag strip, and built my first door car at, I guess right out of senior high school, 18 or 19. And then a couple years later, built another door car that I was racing, and these were both high 11-second cars. I sold that second car to pay my tuition to go back to school. And I went to paramedic school for there at a local college and worked as a paramedic for 30 years and didn't have a race car. But growing up, it was hot rod magazines and Carcraft and dragsters and funny cars. And, the funny cars at the time, the Barry Setzer Vega, Jungle Jim, Dale Pulte, the Blue Max, guys like that were, I guess kind of my idols, and had always hoped to get back into racing at some time. I retired in 2010 and bought a front engine dragster, and we ran it for a few years with the Southwest Junior Fuel Association. It had a little bit of success with that. There I am. That car there is an actual mid-60s X-Top fuel car. It's a Jim Davis car. And so we ran that particular chassis until we got going fast enough where we had to upgrade to a better chassis. And the one that we switched to, and the one I still have and currently run, is Jimmy Young's old Nostalgia Top Fuel chassis. So we were the 2017 champions for Southwest Junior Fuel. But like so many heads-up series, they get to be where they're so fast, it's hard to maintain full fields. And I was hoping that if I had a funny car that I could find some local match races. There's several funny cars in Wichita and in Kansas. And this was before Funny Car Chaos existed. So we found this car. I had kind of had a checklist: Vega body, polished super trick wheels, and a newer chassis that wasn't all beat up. And lo and behold, it popped up on Racing Junk, and I'm like, well, you got your wish. You better put your money where your mouth is. So went out and got it in New York State. And I think that was in 2016. And spring of 2017, Gary and I started working on the car, and Chris came out with the Funny Car Chaos, and we promised him we'd be there to support him. I'd known Chris and Tara since we started Junior Fuel, and raced against Tara actually when she drove some of the Junior Fuel cars. So we got busy, and I think we fired the car up on Wednesday, put the car in a trailer Thursday morning, and drove to Denton for the first Funny Car Chaos race. So first time I ever sat in a funny car with the engine running and body down was on the starting line at North Star. So I had no idea what I was doing, had no business being there, but we made it.
Lee, I'm not sure that anybody's got a better story than Mike's. First time down a drag strip was in a slingshot. Are you kidding me?
Right. You know, most people, it's like today, oh, I got to start in junior dragsters, or, you know, I took mom's station wagon to the drag strip and she didn't know about it, and I haven't said anything until like right now. But no, slingshot dragster, first time. There you go. Yeah.
Well, I'm so old they didn't have junior dragsters back then, so
you just had to go to the senior ones automatically. Hope you survive.
and I might add, it had a inline 6-cylinder with a Chevy 3-speed transmission with low gear taken out of it. So it wasn't anything super fancy, but it was a front engine dragster. So yeah,
it was a slingshot. That reminds me, a couple of my favorite cars are Sissel and Dick and Allred and Clark, when they had those twin six-cylinder cars in Competition Eliminator. Those are still some of the coolest cars I've seen, and I just love those. So you driving that inline 6, and that was your first trip down the racetrack, man, what a deal. I love it. Now, you have won at a Funny Car Chaos event before, just not in Funny Car, because your injected slingshot dragster at MoCan is either the first year or the second year, is either 18 or 19. You were in the winner's circle in the Outlaw Nostalgia Shootout. So I think you had the funny car there too, but you were doing double duty, which is rather ambitious. But yeah, Mike wound up being in the winner's circle at one of the first Funny Car Chaos in the slingshot dragster. That's the second one that you were talking about. With the former Nostalgia Top Fuel chassis, right?
Right. Yeah. We struggled. The first 3 years, with the funny car. We just could not figure it out. And I think when we took the dragster to Mocan, we were in the struggling stage, so we thought we had a better chance of doing well with the dragster. Plus the fact that Mocan is one of my favorite tracks in the world to go to. Carl and his group are just such wonderful people that I wanted to do whatever I could to support them. And plus, it's only 3 hours from my house, so beat some of those long drives to Texas to go to Mocan, and definitely paid off. So I still love running the dragster. Not as many opportunities as I had in the past, but when I can, we race it also.
That's cool. That's cool. And now, am I correct? You called Charlie Thornwinger and told him about your idea. Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, when I started building the car, I wanted to look like something that I remember from the early 70s. I graduated from high school in 74, so these were my formative years, and the funny cars of the day, they looked like the production cars they were modeled after, and they all had really cool names, nice paint jobs. And so there was a website, Classic Funny Car Board, and they had a section for pictures of old funny cars, and there were actually 833 pages, I remember, because I looked at every single one of them, looking at pictures of funny cars from the day. And Charlie's car just kept popping up. I loved the paint scheme. I liked the name. It just had the look. And so I had talked to John Hale about what's the best way of doing a car like this. Should I try to contact the people? And beforehand, he said, definitely that would be the way to go. And John had actually offered to, he said if I'd want to do a tribute car of a Mike Burkhart car, that he could get me permission to do that also. So I had that in my back pocket, but I just looked up Charlie on the internet and found this phone number. Didn't know if it was a good one or not, called it, got a voicemail. It was just a generic voicemail. I thought that I'll never hear back from this guy. This was like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and on Saturday morning, my phone rang and it was Charlie. And so we talked. I told him what I wanted to do and would like permission from him to replicate his car. And he told me that he would give me his permission under one condition, and that condition was that I kept him abreast of what was going on in the racing. And so we agreed to that, and he's kept up with the car. He's tried to make a couple of the races in Texas, but I understand he owns a quite busy heating and air conditioning company that keeps him very busy. So he hasn't physically been able to make it to the races, but we text back and forth and keep him abreast of what's going on. He was just so gracious to, I think he was thrilled that somebody remembers his car and wanted to do a tribute to it. And I can't tell you the number of people that have come up to me and remember the car when Charlie ran it. I had something, there's a picture I put up the other day about it, and somebody commented that they actually ran Charlie in their funny car back in the day, and Charlie had beat him. But Dale Poldy was a good friend of Charlie's, and Dale told me that he remembered when Charlie fired that. Charlie was one of the last people to run a big block Chevy in the funny car series before he switched to Hemi, and Dale Poldy told me that was the loudest engine he's ever heard in his life, was that big block Chevy on nitro.
That's a great story, and of course he had a lot of success, particularly in '71. It was when I really tuned into that, and he won the IHR event at Rockingham, and so I guess you told him that you won the Lufkin race.
Yes, I texted him pretty quick after the race. I haven't heard back from him yet, but I was. It seemed like for so many years I would text him and tell him, well, we're still not doing very well, but we're not giving up. And So I hope to hear from him soon.
Well, Mike, you have made a big move in the points. You, I think, moved up 16 places in the points. You're now number 14, and you are now the fourth driver from Kansas to win an event in Funny Car Chaos competition. So you have joined an esteemed group there, and you are the 38th person to ever hoist one of those Funny Car Chaos trophies as a winner of an event. And we are just very thrilled. Hey, what's next in the evolution of Mike Buchanan, Funny Car Racer, and Team Ombre?
Well, we just hope to keep going. None of us are spring chickens right now, so the fact that we even get to go to a race is good for us. So we're going to continue. We're not going to be able to run all the races this year. It's looking like right now we're not going to be able to go to Odessa. We will be going to Eddyville, Mocan, and seems like there's another one there we might be going to. I think I've got some scheduling conflicts in October for Ennis again, but if that changes, we'll try to go back down there. We just feel lucky that we get to do this. And I'd be remiss without talking about my crew. I had my best buddy from high school lives in Houston. He came up this weekend and spent the weekend with us, and so he helped out, but just kind of watched from a distance. And he came over and kind of whispered in my ear. He said, "How in the world did you find such a dedicated group?" And I don't know how I did. I'm just blessed. Gary Roshkob, he's the one holding the big check there. He's my crew chief. He's been with me for 13 years now. We started out together with the dragster, and he is a welder and fabricator and tuner extraordinaire. Car wouldn't even go down the track without him. And so looking at the picture there, the guy with the red bandana around his neck, that's Cliff Kelly. That's my friend from high school. Next to him is Brian Jacobs. We've been friends now for 30 years. Brian has an engineering background and has built probably one of the nicest custom trucks you've ever seen in your life. I believe it was the International Show Car Association's Truck of the Year several years ago. And next to him is his wife, Kirsten, and she is our track mom. She takes care of everything nobody else wants to. She takes care of all of our meals and packs my parachute, keeps my gear together, keeps us fed. That goofball in the middle holding the sign, well, that's me. And then the guy next to me is Dennis Atwell. And a lot of you may know him. He's one of Ray Stringer's crew guys. Well, since Ray couldn't come to the race at Lufkin, Dennis volunteered to help, so we put him to work. But unfortunately for Ray, I think Dennis likes the pace of a alcohol funny car with an automatic transmission as opposed to a nitro burner with a clutch. So Ray may have lost a crew guy there because our pace is definitely different than a nitro car.
Wow. Okay, man. Well, man, hopefully one of these days you'll find a successful HVAC contractor that maybe will add some sponsorship and allow you to chase the whole circuit. But, stranger things have happened. So thank you very much for being on the show with us and telling the story of Team Ombre and Mike Buchanan and Gary and all your guys. Man, congratulations on a terrifically successful event. And whenever we get a chance to see you, we are definitely looking forward to that opportunity.
Well, thank you a lot for having me. And I just, there's just something special about the Funny Car Chaos family. Obviously it starts with Chris and Tara and works its way down with you, David and Lee, and, everybody that works behind the scenes. And, I just want to send a shout out to the Singleton family and let them know that you're still in our prayers. And I'm glad Ken's, back closer to home now. And Joe, I know it's not easy to take care of, somebody that's hurt, but I'm glad at least closer to your family. And if there's anything any of us can do, we'd be more than happy to do it for you. And you're always in our prayers. And Ken, get well soon, buddy.
Well said. Well said.
Well, Mike,
again,
look,
go ahead.
yeah, Mike, look, thank you for your time, man, and glad that dream came true. It was amazing interviewing you before the final round. You're like, man, we never would have thought we would have this opportunity, and y'all made the most of it and picked the win up. Congratulations once again. Dreams do come true, even in Funny Car Chaos.
Yes, they do. I did a school program yesterday with the funny car, and I told them, I said, if you have a passion and you're willing to work hard, it'll pay off. And so just don't give up your dreams. And it definitely paid off for us. And, if we never win another one, we've won one, and we'll still come into the races. I don't drag race because I'm good at it. I drag race because I like it. So.
Well, we are so glad that you like it, brother. And again, thank you very much for plugging in.
Well, thanks for having me, and we'll see you guys at the next race.
All right.
Take care, man.
Take care.
Great job.
Oh,
that was fun.
Yeah, you got to love those stories that, from when coming into drag racing as he did, and then saying, hey, let's go funny car racing, and making a tribute car of something that caught his eye from back in the day when funny car racing was so popular. And again, David, for me, when I went and interviewed him before and after, the excitement that the dream came true, and it's not NHRA, it's not IHRA, it is funny car chaos. And that can happen in this series. If you've ever wanted to drive a funny car, well, you can bring out whatever combination you want, tribute car or not, and you got a shot to win. There you go.
Yep. It's a combination. It's a formula that is working so well, and we just love welcoming new racers and guys like Mike has been part of Funny Car Chaos since day one, and he was he was there, and he was telling me at the races, and I thought he might tell it here tonight, but he was feeling like, we're just like he said, we didn't feel like we knew what we were doing. He was like, I'm just going to put it in the trailer. And Chris said, well, first round loser pays $500. And Mike is a sharp cookie. He says, I'll be there in first round.
Another thing I love too, with the car that he is running, and it being the nostalgia body that it is, and so accurate to what was, man, I missed the era of like open windows, like no side windows. It's so cool to see the driver and see that, interaction. And I love it as a camera guy, like on the line, because like you can stick the camera right in there and see what's going on with the driver. And like modern bodies, it's like, is there somebody in there? So yeah, everything about that Hombre is just cool.
Yeah, things have evolved, safety and aerodynamics and all those kind of things that, when you're racing for a championship at the big show level, you'll do things that you might not do if it was different. But we have that old school cool feel to what we do, and we also have the big show cars that come out on occasion too. So you want to run a funny car, you are eligible to run in Funny Car Chaos, and we are delighted to have people whatever type of funny car they bring. Well, that was great, Lee, to have Mike on, and we want to congratulate him again and wish him success in his future events.
Well, David, look at this time.
Ed Wolfe coming up.
Yep, he's coming up. And before we bring Ed on, how about we take a look back at Pine Valley in particular and see what the day looked like for the winners at Pine Valley. How about that?
Sounds good.
right. Well, David, what a great weekend of action it was at Pine Valley. And look, congratulations to all the winners. You know, Kirk Williams, Tom Furchess, Mike Buchanan. But I really think somebody we got to keep an eye out on is Jeff Cameron. That car was, slightly wounded as it was continuing to go on further and further in the rounds of elimination in the weekend. But, they stole the number one spot from Kirk there at Funny Car Chaos and Cajun Country. And I think if it wasn't having the issues that it did have, could have been up there running that much closer with Kirk. And I know from what I understand, they're going to go back, they're going to service the car, be ready for Odessa. So I'm looking forward to what may be upcoming from Jeff.
Yeah, they have continued to shine. First two races of the season, they were running career best elapsed time, career best mile per hour, just steadily stepping it up. And the addition of Brandon McKinney to that tuning combination there, using Brandon's tune-up has really paid dividends. And of course, like you said, Jeff Cameron, came into the Pine Valley event number 10 in points, and qualified strongly, made it to the final round, and makes a big move from number 10 to number 5, and was one of 5 racers that we had move up in the top 10. And so yeah, that's a good point right there, that Cameron is, Cameron is really someone to watch. And of course, the others, the other two that made a big move. Tom Furchess moved up 6 places, and Smiley Cordero moved up 4 places. And
right.
so,
and Jeff Peterson even says, he's like, hey, Smiley is the one to watch out for. And I don't disagree. Smiley has arisen, it seemed like, out of nowhere, seemingly, that, hey, I'm a funny car competitor in Funny Car Chaos that you have got to reckon with on Elimination Saturday.
Yeah. And no doubt about that. No doubt about that, Jeff, is that, Smiley, this was his 4th race. Well, he's been in 2 finals and he's 1-1. And so that Maximum Overdrive, they are doing well, and certainly someone to watch. And but they're not alone. They're not alone. We have some incredible competition taking place for the championship here in this Spell Paving Services Championship Tour in 2022, and just so much great to see happening out there. Yes,
and I was dumbstruck to find out that Tom Furchess in the Made in America Funny Car, he works for Coors and he designs the cans. I didn't know that. So, we got to start calling him the Can Man out there, David. Like Tom Can Man Furchess. We got to get that rolling somehow, man.
Tom Furchess, the man who can.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yes. Well, David, at this time, one of the series supporters in many ways, Ed Wolfe, we've got him in the green room ready to go. Let's get him on and chat with him. He has been doing this drag racing thing for a long time, and what a character he is, and I'm looking forward to the stories we can get out of him.
Same here.
Right after this break, folks, Ed Wolfe.
If you can race it, chances are we make a piston or connecting rod for it. We have about 4,000 to 5,000 different part numbers on the shelf for connecting rods and pistons. So about half of what we sell comes right off the shelf, and the other half is custom-made parts. I am a firm believer in distribution and everybody getting their cut, doing their job, and getting rewarded for it. So we'll see how that goes in the future.
Ed, welcome to the show, man.
How you doing, guys?
We're doing great. We are doing great. Ed, the rule number 1 at Funny Car Chaos is have fun. And I tell you what, somebody that exemplifies having fun as well or better than most is Ed Wolfe. Are you having as much fun as it looks like you are, brother?
By God, you bet. It's almost times 10. I've been very, very fortunate in a lot of years and of racing but enjoying this series. In 2017 came with a aerial group that me and a couple other gentlemen out of Nashville had, Motorsports Aerial, and we came to the Chaos and the Corn. And we had the drones, I believe, if you remember, when we were there, and David. And that was kind of me stepping out of just doing big show stuff along and doing a lot of other motorsports in the oil pump business, being very fortunate to touch very multifacets of all different types of motorsports. And it's definitely like going to college and never graduating, let me tell you, because the industry, as we all know, changes every day. Unfortunately, with material and all that stuff, I'm not going to get on a milk crate and talk about that stuff. But it's been a really, really big relief and having fun, but getting return on your advertising dollar is something that never happens in drag racing normally. But with this series, just towards the end of last year, picking up a lot of our own Chaos guys, fuel pumps, oil pumps, trying to keep people going forward, obviously. It's really been a blessing for me and bringing a lot more awareness. But we've been able to keep going here and running with the leader of the pack, trying to keep everything going the right direction like everybody does in this day and age. And want to say a special shout out, obviously, to the Singleton family, for everything they're going through. We pray every day, all of us Chaos people, and we love you very much. And Ken said Singleton strong, brother, all the way through and through. But I am having the time of my life, being able to get back with older style cars when I really used to enjoy this a whole lot more than in the later, let's say 2000, getting into the teens, to where everything got so much corporate that it just took all the fun out of it. And a lot of stress goes along with all that. This seems to be so much more laid back for all of us. And it truly seems like one big family. We hustle out bar parts from one another, keep it a spectator sport. And other than that, really happiness is a low ET. That's what drag racing's all about. And if we can keep this stuff going, that is Chris and Tara. Their vision of this was something. I'm just glad I can be a little bit of a tale of something something I believe is truly great. And I've been able to actually help Bill D and Mike Smith. We won the Chaos and the Corn, I believe, with Bill D's Nor'easter. One of the fields, I can't remember whether it was what it was. It was with the Blue Mustang.
It was the beat.
So I had my little taste of having to work a little bit, beating on the old hot rods in the heat. But besides that, I'm having the time of my life. And if this whole world keeps straightening around, we're going to be able to keep doing great things. And like I said, if I can just be one little part of this, I already feel blessed to be a part of what I'm being able to do. And thankful to Chris and Tara. And I want to thank, Fred Spell for prodding me a little bit pretty hard, actually, at the beginning, not this year, the year before, to go on and get in here, because I was kind of burnt out with the big show cars. And there it is on a nice hot night. But it all worked out, had some fun. I just really, like I said, I really feel blessed. I've already made so many friends with a lot of these guys. And you were talking about a person that I see, that Smiley. let me tell you something. That guy comes from the converter world, and he's another one of those I believe we definitely better be watching out for. But what a true nice family too. Pretty much like every family that we have with the Chaos Bunch, I feel is just a true blessing. Gentlemen.
Absolutely, Ed. Man, well, that was my introduction to you was 2018 at Havana, Illinois, at Central Illinois Dragway, and they were like, "Man, Ed Wolfe is here," and I'm like, "Okay, Ed, I'm sorry, I don't know who Ed Wolfe is, but you stepped up, you put up some money for that particular event right there. You had the drones, and then the next year you guys are back there and you're working with Billy D, and man, what a fun guy that guy is."
Yeah,
and you guys wound up winning that event in the Nor'easter. Now I'm looking behind you and I see a lot of trophies back there too, which I'm going to guess goes back to your history in racing because you have a lot of it. So tell us about some of your history, with race cars, all the things that you've done in the drag racing world prior to Chaos.
Yeah, was very fortunate. My father had an injected big block Chevrolet, an A Alder, in the late 60s, and some buddies of his. And I was the only kid when we go up here to Wentzville, Missouri, local drag strip. And our family, that nitromethane didn't bother my eyes, and had the parachutes, and I'd get to pack my bicycle, run down the other end of the track, and I was just mesmerized when I saw my first funny car. And it was primered up, and they'd come from over at Radisi and Wise shop. It had been repaired after fire, but it was a small block Chevrolet on nitro, and it was the kids' tennis shoes, KEDS, if you remember us older folk, Kids for Kids. And so this thing fires up. It's cackling, man, big burnout, flames. I'm pretty much junk at, about 9 years old. This is what I want to do. To speed forward, my dad and them had, because a lot of children come along with the four guys that were partners on the car, racing got put on hold, except for one of them was a single, but worked at our local hospital, and but was a very hardcore racer. We went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and 74, I believe, and that was first year I met Tom Hovland, and Wayne Wiseman, a crew chief, put up with me in the parking lot at the hotel, and they were on a Dovetail truck. It was a 1975 all iron 426, and red, white, and blue, stars and stripes, and didn't have very much luck. But then I asked if I could come by, and he said, yeah, to polish the wheels and wipe the body off. And well, my God, I thought I'd struck gold. And we had taken a class car there. And so I immediately just kind of forgot about doing that and this funny car deal. So one thing led to another. Next year, it was a couple races, Kansas City and Tulsa, and then St. Louis. And then he started buying Tom Hoover's cars, the 1-year-old Showtime. And that's in the era, as everybody knows, of all these names that were so cool back in the day. Well, what better than Showtime than the main attraction, Tom Hovland's main attraction. So we would take, and then that was our mantra, you might say. And that was my really digging in deep in about 1979. We were running very well. AHRA ran a few NHRA run the Indy, won a few rounds at the U.S. Nationals. I think we beat Mike Dunn first round, then got old man took us out second round at Indy, but we beat in our finer AHRA days at St. Louis. We were fortunate enough, my first big win on a team, and that was with Mr. Tom Hovland, and we beat Mongoose first round, Gordy Bonin in the semis, and had Snake in the final. And Snake always doing his intimidation act as normal on the starting line with the smoke, talking to Tom. He goes, "Well, kid," he goes, "might as well just kind of be handing it over to me." And Tom goes, "Well, Snake, it's kind of like this. If I get beat by you, I get to say, hey, I got beat by Don the Snake Perdome," he says. "But you, on the other hand, if I beat you, you got to say you got beat by the Hayseed Hustler. And don't you know we beat him in the final?" And that was a strike in the vein of just loving this sport to death. And especially in those earlier days. And man, we just went down the road and had so much fun. It was just absolutely in the pinnacle, the step up from there, parking in the car in late 80, early 81, and moved on and stumbled into Jack Wyatt at St. Louis. And he had just parted ways with a partner and didn't have anybody start the car, and asked me what I was doing. Well, I had back up a minute. He's an Iowa guy. So I would see him at the pits. He'd come by, or, you borrow gaskets from this guy, borrow oil from this guy. Well, that's how we'd seen each other. And so I ended up starting the car. We ended up going to the finals and winning the race. Couldn't believe it. Here I am back at this racetrack, just wandering around. Happened to be on a Friday that started all this. And we went on, I believe, that year to get runner-up championship for AHRA. But then we got to running with a bunch of the Texas alcohol funny car circuit, which is so nice with some of these old guys down in that whole area down there. It just really brings it back home for me even more, and through the Midwest here. Like I said, and there's other years that I come along. I was helped the Van Howen brothers for a very short stint. Lived there. It's where I met my beautiful wife of 35 years, Jill. Actually, they had went to school with my wife, the Van Howen brothers. And as you all know, my wife passed away, but yet she was heart and soul of Wulff Pumps. Kept this thing going, but we're on it, on Wulff Pumps 2.0. We're keeping this going. I went on after that and was a crew chief for Daryl Amberson on a Roadway Customs car. The Ambition slightly before that, and then the Roadway Customs trailer, because he bought that from Doc Holliday and the Telstar. And kind of moved on around. We'd actually had the Ted Comba's car out for 6 months. Same car that Whit Bazemore ended up getting into for one of his first nitro cars. But been just very fortunate working for a lot of different, higher end people to see how to spend big money. I know how to seen that done, but how to do it the hard way is how most of us do it, especially chaos style. And but in a nutshell, I ended up at KC Spurlocks with Ronnie Swearingen, and that's where I ended up taking, and where I ended up with the oil pump business. So everything happens for a reason. I believe the Lord Jesus Christ, my only Father, ended up pushing me there for an obvious reason. It's a true blessing. I ended up working on oil pumps there. Had a 2-week crash course, but Mr. Spurlock knew that I, worked on the race engines, obviously on his son's nitro car, and that kind of a jack of all trades, kind of master of none kind of thing, but put me in charge of that. I was able to run that business for about 8 years, and I was able to purchase that from Mr. Spurlock. And that's what's led me to speed straight forward to being able to put money down to try to help keeping this funny car chaos deal that's already on its way by itself. I'm just lucky to be a tail end of a kite on this big box kite that's taken off. And I'm really blessed.
Man, what a story. What a history. Lee, can you believe all that? That is amazing.
Pretty crazy.
I certainly can believe all of that.
And there's a lot in between that would take a lot of time.
Right. I've heard a lot of it before.
There's a lot of different stuff. Division alcohol dragster racing. Guy Kelly, our own. Oh my God, Will Hanna used to work with Jason Cannon, I think it was, in Division 2, and we rivaled quite a bit. Some of those trophies behind me. The one that means the most is back over right here. Was one 5 days after my wife passed away on a Wednesday, and we raced in St. Louis. My daughter, we had a vigil here at the house. Bob McCosh was very kind enough and took a bunch of tribute stickers and give them to all the pro teams, knowing that, I couldn't make it there. My daughter and them pushed me and my grandson to go. And they said, you need to be with your racing family. I kid you not. It was such a bittersweet moment. Got very fortunate and was over on with Dell and Nikki with Sean Langdon driving the Global Electronics car, and he got his first funny car win. And Matt Bynum personally said, Eddie, this trophy is for you. And I was very, very blessed that Steve Bryson took me under the wing. Everything was, very storybook, not to the way I wanted it to end. But everything closed in when I closed the truck door at the racetrack. But for a moment there, but everything happens, we all know, in this crazy life we're in for a reason. And the man upstairs is the one that controls it all. And we're all very thankful. And once again, everybody, please keep those blessings and prayers coming in for old Ken. And keep an eye on all of our family as we travel and go to these races. And we'll plan on seeing you all up to Odessa and be ready to run with the lead of the pack. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah, we are. Yes, we are. I'm not sure how to put it. I'm not sure I could listen to this gentleman all day long and all into the night. What a great story. And we're so thrilled to have you as part of the Funny Car Chaos family.
It's a blessing.
You mentioned a lot of different names there, and you've come from a background of hands-on involvement, working on the funny cars and now making components for funny cars and much, much more. But
born and raised on a farm at that. Farm boy, believe it or not, plowing and dissing and planting, you name it. Brush hogging combine, and that's what happens. Country boy can't survive.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of us have chewed some of that same dirt, as Clint
Eastwood
said in Heartbreak Ridge.
Got it. I'm so blessed to have you two guys behind all this stuff going. It takes every one of us. There is just, this thing is such a big package. If we can all, if we can keep the interest, and hopefully our monetary systems will get better to where we can all actually really, really grab this, and hopefully we can just keep running with it. And I can only think of the sky is the limit. with this. And the depth of some wallets goes with that. But that's all part of that game. And let's hope that we can keep the cinematography in going with that, which you do oh so well, David. You know, every weekend when we take and do that. And obvious here with my little red-bearded buddy that I've known for a while, from back to the Mike Smith days, I believe, up the New Englander card back years back. And with Ray Goodrich and Marino Brothers.
Yep.
We've had some rather wild times. But like I said, guys, thank you so much for everything you do. And like I said, I can't wait.
Same here. I'm ready to jump in the car and go to Odessa right now. And we got a little ways to go before we get there, but it's so much fun. And this is what people experience when they come to a Funny Car Chaos event. Yeah, it's not just another drag race. It's a family reunion. About it, every time we get together.
And that's a pretty good time to have a family reunion every few weeks, or sometimes back to back with total chaos. My God, that's Chaos Nation. I just don't know. It's the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
Well, we look forward to taking that flight with you by our side, and as the Funny Car teams continue to discover what it's like to experience, the chaos. When you go from, what we have 50-something Funny Car competitors 3 years ago to nearly 90 last year. And just to experience the numbers and people coming in and when they get ready to leave, they say, I'll be back. And because I've had such a good time. And that's what we want. That's what we want, is people to be able to bring their family, bring grandma, bring the kids, bring the grandkids, whatever, and experience a time at an event that they would be thrilled to bring somebody that they know, love, and care about back to our event for a terrific time. And your contribution, Ed, really is a big part of that. And we're so glad that you've come aboard as you have.
Okay, well, thank you guys very much. I'll get out of your way, and we'll plant you now. We'll dig you later.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take
Ed.
care, man.
All right, guys. Take care.
See you in Odessa.
You bet.
Oh, David, Ed Wolfe. I encountered Ed for the first time at Maple Grove Raceway. First ever weekend I was able to work with a nitro car. Paul Weiss was like, yeah, you can help us out, take some photos, do some video. And I did an undercover video, and I encountered Ed for the first time. And Ed taught me a lot that weekend about just acting like you own the car. He said it a lot more colorfully than that. And I did exactly what he told me, and I've just acted like I've owned it ever since. And here we are meeting each other again in the chaos world. So definitely that family reunion happening, and it is amazing who you will encounter in the pits at a chaos race, even if it's not the classic, even the other events. You never know who you are going to encounter.
That is so true. And we've got a big event coming up, and we will do another Funny Car Chaos Chaos Live coming up in 2 weeks, and give you a full rundown on the things that are going to be taking place when we go out there to Penwell Nights Raceway, beautiful downtown Penwell, just west of Odessa, Texas. We've got looking today, I think we're at 24, 25 cars right now are pre-entered, and we hope to. So we're looking for 3 full fields again out there. And, whether it's 2 fields or whether it's 3 or whether it's 4 like the Classic, it's a phenomenal show. We had 2 fields at State Capitol Raceway, and still, what a show. What an incredible time it was. So anyway, the more is good. More is not always necessarily better, because greatness is greatness. And
Right.
We will be out there for that coming up in a couple of weeks for the next Chaos Live, and then a little over that we'll be in Odessa and we'll be racing.
That's right. So, David, any other final thoughts about the event that we just wrapped up at Pine Valley Raceway? Anything, again, about the facility or a particular competitor, maybe someone that we have not highlighted that we probably should or possibly can? Any other thoughts?
One of the things about Chaos that makes it extra special is that we don't just, the winner doesn't leave with all the money. We pay wide. We make it so a lot of people get checks or cash, as sometimes is the case. And we have some tremendous sponsors that make that happen for us. And some of those racers that came away with the extra bonus money for certain things that they earned down at Pine Valley Raceway, Chuck Lofton took home the money from the Jan Mears Unsung Heroes bonus presented by our good friend Andy Mears. And so Chuck Lofton was able to take that bonus. Wizards Warehouse has come aboard this year, and they're providing not one but three bonuses for the luckiest unlucky, the competitor that qualifies last in each of the three fields. And so in the C field, Robert Slaughter, that Lone Ranger funny car from Waco, was able to take that bonus money home. And Tom Furchess not only got the win in the Alky Digger B field, but he did it from the bottom of the field. And so he got the winner's check plus the luckiest unlucky. And then in the A field, Chuck Lofton, again, he is 11th place in points out of the top 10 by just 1 point. So that team from Seguin is really doing some good things, but they got a couple of bonuses there. And the Nitro Billy's top speed of elimination, Scott Parizo and the team down there with that twin spin Turbinator. And they took home some bonus money from Drag Daddy's Garage, Nitro Billy's Speed Shop for top speed in the C field eliminations. The Littlefield Blowers, top speed in the B field. The Atomic Pump Crew, Donald Knobloch and them, they had the top speed in eliminations for the Alky Digger B field. And in the Rodax Custom Coffee A field, Kirk Williams. Now that team, they ran 7 times. They ran once in the test, 3 qualifiers, and 3 rounds of eliminations. 375, 376, 378. It's only laps times they ran. 375, 376, 378. It was a bracket car, is what some people were saying, but it was a fast bracket car. But that was really something, and they took home the top speed of the A field presented by CP Carrillo. So the Blue Max Entertainer of the Race, and this is one of them that has kind of been off of the website, so I'll give you all 3 of them. At Pine Valley, Blue Max Racing Entertainer of the Race went to Kirk Williams for their dominant performance. Chris Schneider got the Blue Max Entertainer of the Race at State Capitol Raceway, and at the Classic at the season opener, Clay Cunningham. And Team Still Crazy, they took home that Blue Max Entertainer of the Race bonus. The High Performance Data Quick Reaction Time of round 1, Wicked Weekender out of Norman, Oklahoma, Steve Vang was able to do that with a 005 reaction time. And then S&W Race Cars Contingency Award for number 3 and number 5 qualifiers in all 3 fields. And so there was I've got those names there, and I'm not sure if they're exactly right because the way the qualifying list was altered. But anyway, S&W Race Cars, they are supporting us in a big, big way, and they have been since day number 1 in Funny Car Chaos. So thanks to them. And then North Texas Diesel, Nancy Matter, has made us a nice contribution to high risk racing for the stick-to-itiveness bonus. And we thank her for that support. And of course, we're all reminded that the 50-50 raffles take place. And thus far, our winners have donated all the funds back to high risk racing and to the Singleton family. And we are so, so appreciative of the way our racers and our fans support our brother who is recovering and his family, as they are near and dear to us. And we appreciate everybody who continues to support them, and to John Gardner and the team at Cameron Family Racing for making the place available for the 50-50 raffle and for Chapel and all that they do down there at Cameron Family Racing. So we appreciate those things. The event at Lufkin, looking forward to another trip down there as things will will be on an upward trajectory at Pine Valley Raceway. I just know that they are have got things going in a good direction. They've got a good team down there, and they've helped us put on a very successful event. And it's one of them that, they added more grandstands. Who does that? Well, somebody that's planning on a successful drag racing operation will put in additional stands. That's happening at Pine Valley Raceway. So thanks to them for all that, and to all of you for plugging in here tonight. Again, we'll be back in a couple of weeks to give you some more of the latest and greatest in the world of funny car chaos. And Lee, what else do you have for us?
Man, it was a great event. What a jewel of a facility for East Texas in drag racing. I had not heard of Pine Valley, even though, I do have a small stint of Texas drag racing in my own history when I did junior dragsters with my dad when we lived right below Tyler and White House. And we oftentimes wouldn't drag race in Texas. We'd go all the way to Gillum, Louisiana, there at what was Red River, and do IHRA drag racing. So I'm glad that East Texas has got such a great facility. And yes, bright future ahead of it, and look forward that future has funny car chaos as a part of it there at Pine Valley, and I look forward to going back there next year. We got plenty to look forward to in the fourth round of competition coming up. May 18th, I think, is the next Chaos Live that we all can expect to go live on the Funny Car Chaos channels. And, well, whoever from the world of chaos we talk to, we're going to talk to them and get the scoop and get ready for Odessa. I'm ready for West Texas, whether there's nothing out there or not. There's drag racing, though.
As dry as it's been, there's not much vegetation out there. Of course, there never has been around Pinwell. But anyway, hey, man, I appreciate you telling me the stories of when you were a bad to the bone junior dragster racer, the brief time that you lived in Texas. So all of you out there in Chaos Nation, he's not just a media personality. He's also got experience behind the wheel on the racetrack, and he's got the trophies too, as he was a winner. So
I do. I need to get some behind me, but there is that one edition of Drag Review, the IHRA magazine, where little Lee Kraft in the Carolina Kid Junior Dragster is in it for a runner-up at a bracket finals. I was known as Mr. Alabama because I was the guy who got all the points for my track. Like, no one else got points. I got points for the track, and everybody was like, yeah, the junior guy. So I don't know. Hopefully one day maybe be a funny car guy. I know I got to talk to Chris Schneider and the Brutus gang, and they're like, yeah, we'll let you warm it up one day. So I got to take them up on that offer and get behind the wheel and at least warm one of these things up. And, you mentioned S&W race cars. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to build a funny car, they got a blueprint, and you can actually order the kit and build your funny car. So do it.
That's right. Funny cars going together. In talking to Chris periodically, there's lots of funny cars that we have yet to see that have already told us they're coming to a Funny Car Chaos event at some unnamed future date. So, man, it's a thrill to show up at the racetrack every time Chaos comes to town, because, you don't always see the pre-entries.
Right.
You see people show up at the racetrack that didn't pre-enter. Well, that's allowed, and that's kind of cool when that happens too. So we'll be seeing some more of that, and we'll start to see some of that actually in Odessa. You'll see some funny cars that we haven't seen much of before, or maybe ever before. So
awesome, David. Well, look, I am looking forward to it. And folks, again, May 18th, be right back here before the event in Odessa. Myself and David Ratton, the voice of Chaos, we will be hosting Chaos Live, chatting with whoever we find from the world of chaos. David, great show. Thank you for being right here, and thank you for always a fabulous job on announcing at the track. We'll see you next time, all of you, right here on the Chaos channels for Chaos Live.
Good night, everybody.
Not many race car shops can say they've been in business for 60 years, but we can. Here at S&W Race Cars, we specialize in welding and fabricating, designing and building door car, dragster, funny car, and alter chassis. We provide water jet cutting and other production services. We have several thousand roll bars and roll cages, custom tube bending, fabricated 9-inch forward housings, and rear frame kits. We run a full-service machine shop, and so much more we couldn't squeeze into a 30-second commercial. Give us a call at 1-800-523-3353 or visit our website.